Hello everyone, welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon, Chapter 4.
Lives in a monochrome world, broken from the sight through her lonely eyes. It reflects the ocean and stars, but her cry echoes around the simple loss of love in her heart, making this whole fairy tale alive within sorrow's tender embrace. This was never meant to happen. The day, the only reason you have to stay. Hear me sing my song and just keep holding on. Cinderella, why don't you stay with me tonight? We will dance until midnight comes and we could run away. Oh, we will never ever be apart. Set aside all your fears, this magic lives inside your heart. I am here, would you wanna stay with me tonight? Follow me, we will run across the bridge of fantasy. Oh, all the pain and sadness that you feel, believe in me, hold me close, don't ever let me go. Come and stay with me forever. Magic lives so long as I am here.
It has been more than a week since Rod and I returned to the Marchen. He has been avoiding me ever since that day. Not that we have much cause to be around each other nowadays. I'm constantly on my feet preparing for Mella's ball. Ah crap, you know what I just remembered? We didn't get a crystal for the choice we made in the last episode, basically at the end. A little sucky, so we might actually end up getting bad ending. This is getting ridiculous. Busy to be better than bored, princess. I stopped for a moment to better balance the pile of fabrics that I am carrying. One of the maids has ordered me to bring this to a designated room so that I can be sorted out. I am being reduced to fetching and carrying, and I have made no progress on accomplishing my first good deed. I doubt that simply following orders from the other maids will help me get my first good deed. I feel a shuffle in my pocket, and then notice Laura peeking her porcelain face out. Better to obey rather than disobey at least. You're not going to get a good deed being stubborn. Anyway, you've got to put yourself out there a bit more, princess. You can't just do whatever is convenient for you. That's not good. Delora has been no help at all. Wait, I recognize this place. Isn't this where your room is? I stopped in front of the door to my old bedroom. Ever since I came here, I have been ignoring this room, not wanting to see what the king did to it during my absence. Do you not want to go in? Why should I? It is not as if it's my room anymore. Oh, you're no fun. Aren't you curious about how it's changed? I would be lying if I said I wasn't. I guess a little peek wouldn't hurt. It doesn't look different at all. It looks exactly the same. That's fascinating. I step into the room and close the door behind me. It is like stepping into the past. The room is exactly as I left it. It seems completely untouched. Moments later, Delora is standing before me in her human form. It looks like someone's been dusting in here. Strange, considering no one should remember who this room even belongs to. I glance around, eyes wide. Everything looks the same. I put the fabrics that I'm carrying down on my bed and make my way to the shelf where my dolls are displayed. My eyes pause on a specific doll. Ooh, what's that? This one was not here before. Delora raised an eyebrow. Maybe you just don't remember that one because she wasn't very memorable. You do have a lot of dolls after all. No, I know each of my dolls by name. This one is definitely new. She looks very similar to the dolls I saw at Vioricas' shop. Wait, why is Mela buying dolls and putting it in here? I quickly turn around at the sound of the doorknob. My eyes move to Delora, but she has already turned into a doll and tucked herself into a corner of the shelf with the rest of my dolls. Mela stands in the doorway, eyeing me curiously. Ellie, what are you doing here? I made a mistake and thought I was supposed to bring these fabrics here. I hope she does not see through my lie. Mela shakes her head, smiling. It's not your fault, Ellie. You're still getting used to the palace and its many rooms. I got lost here all the time when I first arrived too. This room is interesting though. Father expressly ordered that it be kept clean, but otherwise undisturbed. Why would he say that? Yeah, why would he say that? This is such a strange storyline. He won't say why, but apparently this room was very special to him. Maybe it belonged to someone he cherished. Cherished? What a joke. Still, I cannot help but feel hope at her suggestion. I don't think Father would like either of us being in here. We should leave soon. I only came here to put a ribbon on one of the dolls. One of the dolls? Yes, I put one of my dolls here. She walks past me and picks up the doll I did not recognize. I bought this. I know Mela always visited Viorica, but I did not think she liked dolls. She always preferred receiving and buying books, so why does she have this doll? Do you like dolls? Well, I mean, I don't mind them, but I don't usually buy them for myself. No, so why did you buy this one? Mela looks at the doll with a sad smile and shakes her head. I'm not sure. I bought it as a gift. Oh, wow, okay. So the whole reason why Mela, Fritz, Rod, and Ellie went to Vioricas shop the first time was because Mela was secretly buying a doll for Ellie. A gift. Oh, that's so nice. And that was the same day Ellie basically condemned Mela to never be part of her family. Oh, wow, what a twist. I bought it as a gift. I remember that much. I was going to give it to someone who liked dolls, someone I wanted to befriend. I don't know why, but it feels right to leave the doll here until I can remember whom I was meant to give her to. Mela is silent for a moment before she turns to me with a bright smile. I know you have a delivery to make, but could you come with me to the palace entrance first? Mother's still busy talking with the cook, so the fabric can wait. I resist the urge to glare at her. She better not be dragging me around to do yet more errands. I'm expecting a delivery, and I might need your help. I thought so. I have no choice but to nod. Of course. I begrudgingly follow Mela towards the entrance, and there I see the delivery carriage. A familiar person stands beside it. Viorica. Mela pulls Viorica into a tight hug. I turn my attention away to glare at the number of boxes at the back of the carriage. I will no doubt have to help carry them inside. How are the preparations for the ball coming? Mela's smile seems forced at first, but then eases into something softer. It's going well, I suppose. How about the wedding? Decimon and I finalized the date. It'll be 2 days after your ball. I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress. These two always talk so much when they get together. I ignore the chatter as I walk up the carriage to observe the boxes piled inside. What is in these boxes? Oh! Viorica reaches out to grab one. She hands it to me. I am helping with the ball decorations. I came by with part of the order today. Part of it. Careful, it's a bit heavy. I take the box from her and nearly stumble. This is heavy. Mela should have the male servants do this. Queen Ophelia placed quite a large order. I brought the more fragile decorations first. Oh, the glass baubles and vases? I grit my teeth as I shift the box in my arms in an attempt to make it easier to hold. I thought you worked at a toy shop. Yes, but we also have aisles dedicated specifically to party decorations. What kind of toy shop is that? Ellie, will you be alright? I feel annoyance simmer within me. I am obviously not alright. Mela reaches out to help me with the box, but she's too late. I've only taken one step forward when the box slides and I stumble. I manage to cradle my arms, but its weight is too much for me. Before I hit the ground, I feel strong arms around my waist pulling me back upright. The box is taken from me. Oh, it's either Fritz or it's Rod. Ha, I was right. Well, I was half right. I can't get a full right for that guess. My heart and mind are racing, and for a moment I cannot comprehend what has just happened. Are you alright? Rod? I glance aside and I'm shocked to see Rod standing there. The expression on his face gives nothing away, but with our close distance, I can see some flicker of emotion in his bright eyes. Concern? Ellie, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Rod pushes me and I stumble forward, almost tripping on the ground. He raises an eyebrow at me. Know your limits, Ellie. I glare at him as anger begins to bubble up my chest. Okay, so we're looking to change, right? So we're gonna stay silent here. Telling him off would be the Ice Princess. I clench my fist and take a deep breath to try and calm myself. I will not stoop to his level. He's the one being cruel here, not me. You should have stubbornly tried to carry something that was too heavy for you. Sweet. We're going to Ice Princess. Really gets his crystals. I will not take responsibility if you get hurt. Rod, you shouldn't be angry with her for trying to help me. It was my fault for giving her something so heavy. Viorica, what are you doing here? Rod's voice is still cold. Viorica looks startled by his tone. I only came to deliver some of the decorations for the ball. And you thought Mela and her maid could carry these things on their own? Wow, man is he being cruel right now. He must be pissed. Rod, this is not her fault. I am the one who chose to bring Ellie with me. I underestimated picks up his pace as if trying to lose me. I turn a corner and barely stop myself from running right into Rod's back. What now? Why are you so angry at me today? I have barely even spoken to you. Your mere presence is enough to darken my mood. I glared at him and crossed my arms. Funny, you call me cruel, but right now you are worse than I ever was. I don't need someone who hasn't even managed a single good deed to lecture me. Oh. You must be generally cold and unfriendly. Oh, right hook. Excuse me? That would explain why you treated Viorica as you did. I thought that two of you were childhood friends. Viorica was always closer with Mela than with me. We may have been friendly once, but we've since become distant. Distant? It's none of your business. Was he cursed as a child? Is that when his curse started? Interesting. Very interesting if that's the case. I paused as we passed by the door. Remembering that I left both the fabrics and Dolor inside, I make my way towards the door and open it. What are you doing? None of your business. Enjoyed your field trip? I frown when I see her sitting on my bed in human form. What would you have done if it wasn't me? Us witches have a sense for these things. Dolora. Ross slowly enters the room. It's nice to see you here, Lady Dolora. Nice to see you too, little Sebby. Why are you here? Dolora shrugs as she inspects her nails. I thought it would help the princess here since someone doesn't seem very willing. Rod furrows his eyebrows at her. I didn't. Yes, I know. You didn't sign up for this. But do you really think you have a choice, Rod? Dolora looks at Rod pointedly. You know the consequences if this fails. Okay, so I know it's cursed and you'll all probably know soon enough, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. But if this fails, if his curse ends the way I think it'll end, then it will be pretty disastrous for Rod here. Rod looks away, expression conflicted. Consequences? What are you talking about? Consequences for not helping with my curse? Rod sighs heavily before turning back to Dolora. He does not pay attention to me. I am not the right person for this. Doesn't matter what you think. The princess thought you were, so suck it up and do your job. Silence. Rod is silent for a few moments before he finally faces me, looking resigned. I will help you then, but don't expect me to change my opinions of you. Okay, I'm not exactly certain now. I know it's cursed, I don't know how it ends, I don't know the consequences, but if this is enough to scare him into helping Ellie, I wonder how bad it is. I shrug at him. It's not like I was expecting you to in the first place. Dolora grins with clear triumph. Good talk. Rod sighs. In order to achieve your good deeds, you're going to need to mend what you broke before. I feel I already know what he's going to say. My sister's always wanted to be your friend, so you must do just that. Show her kindness, and you may be able to get your first good deed through her. Show her kindness, huh? Dolores decides to stay in my room for the time being, saying that she believes Rod will be able to help me from now on. Later, I make my way to the dining room with the fabrics and see Mela and Ophelia inside. Ellie. Ah, I see you have the fabric. Thank you. Ophelia takes the topmost sample of fabric and begins to inspect it as Mela walks up to me. Where's Rod? He returned to his studies. Oh right, he has history lessons today, and I am yet to finish my history homework, which is due tomorrow. As Mela muses aloud, I ponder what Rod told me earlier. I must become Mela's friend? But is that really a good deed? I hope Rod didn't send the servants out before he went back to his room. I wanted to tell him that Viorica and I already called on guards to bring the box inside. Maybe he decided to start his lessons earlier so that he can make your dance lessons this evening. Dance lesson? Father wanted to hire the best dance instructor in Angio, but I honestly feel more comfortable with Rod teaching me. He's a good dancer, so Father has allowed it. That is a surprise. I did not know Rod could dance. He used to prefer singing, but then Ophelia trails off. I know that she is talking about the fairy tale curse, but I do not expect her to divulge such information to a maid like myself. Alright, so there's your first hint, singing. He decided to focus on his dancing for the past few months. Ophelia glances down at the fabrics, then looks up and smiles at me. Ellie, would you mind helping me with this? I obediently walk over to the fabrics Ophelia wants me to look through. They are apparently samples for the tablecloth that would be used during the ball. This is going to be a long day. slow learner. You were always good at everything. Singing, dancing, cooking. Prince Rod cooks? Yes, Rod does cook. He's very good at it. You didn't have to tell her that, Em. Does it really matter? I love bragging about how talented my little brother is. Blush, blush. I see a tinge of pink in Rod's cheeks as he turns away. Is he embarrassed? Mela looks down at the floor, her smile smaller. I wish I was as talented as you, Rod. I had always thought Mela was overly optimistic. She always seems to bounce back the smile no matter how many times I pushed her away. Now I cannot help but reconsider that thought. Still, seeing her like this only infuriates me. Pitying yourself will get you nowhere. Not everyone can be perfect at everything when they first start out. Ooh, tough talk. I remember when Mother gave me similar lessons. She was always such a harsh teacher, and she hated when I showed weakness in front of her. She made me keep practicing until I had perfected whatever it was she wanted me to do. Failure was never an option. I never had any time for self-pity. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, just try harder. Let failure inspire you to do better. Ellie, that was... She's right, Rod. Instead of complaining, I should be working harder. I let out an exasperated sigh and crossed my arms. It might be easier to copy the steps if I have someone perform them first. She turns to me suddenly, eyes bright. Would you help me? I am meant to assist Mel any way that I can, but dancing with her brother? Surely a lowly maid should not be doing this. And yet, we must do it, because Rod is our love interest. Well, if I do accept, at least I can prove that I am the better dancer than Rod. Besides, I am supposed to be listening to Mela, no matter how absurd her requests are, if that is what you want. Really? Mela rushes up to me and then takes my hand in hers. Thank you, Ellie. I thought it might be an awkward request, but I'm so happy you've agreed to this. I turn to look at Rod, who is glowering at me. I'm not dancing with her. She might step on my feet. Mela gives him a disapproving look. Rod, please. Rod eyes me warily. I step towards him and offer my hand. Shall we? Rod scowls at me for a few moments before finally taking my hand. Rawr, rawr. So intimate. I put my hand on his shoulder and he places his hand on the small of my back. Rod looks at me, but quickly averts his gaze. Is something wrong? I didn't think I would ever have to dance with you is all. Neither did I. Rod looks at me again. This time he has an uncomfortable scowl on his face. He's not the only uncomfortable one here. We both start dancing and I mentally start counting the steps. It's been a long time since I last danced with anyone, but the steps come to me naturally. The dance is rather simple. While Rod and I move stiffly, I cannot help but notice his careful footwork. I realize that Rod really is a pretty decent dancer. Of course, I would never openly admit that. When we stop, I hear Mela clapping her hands as she looks at the both of us in awe. You really are a good dancer. Thank you so much for showing me the steps. Now I know for sure what to do during that part. I just shrug at her before stepping back into the corner. Mela takes her position in front of Rod once more. This time she has a bright smile on her face. I cannot believe something as simple as that made her so happy. At the end of the day, Mela has managed to do the steps correctly. She tells me many times how grateful she is for the help. After practice, I return to my room and retire to my bed. I think about how happy Mela was. How can such small things make a person so happy? Okay, this is the one thing I don't like about this game, is coming back to these dreams with Ellie's mother. She's such a jerk and she's so cruel. You stepped out of rhythm again, Ellie. But mother, this is really hard. A princess never complains. You must perfect this waltz by tomorrow, otherwise I will not allow you to play with your dolls for the day. But if you have time for objections, you have time to push yourself harder. Now once again, from the top. See, how harsh was that, right? How harsh was that? The following days are uneventful. Mela continues her dance lessons with Rod. Her steps are still far from perfect, but I can tell that she has improved since my demonstration with Rod. Meanwhile, Rod chooses to ignore me most of the time, though I have noticed that he is less cold than usual. At least he does not snap at me for no good reason anymore. Though Dolores is no longer assisting me, she insists on staying in my room more often. She says that there is something important to investigate, and I cannot even guess what it might be. I prefer not having her around anyway. Her constant chattering makes it difficult to focus on anything. Right now, I'm still trying to figure out how I can achieve my first good deed. Almost 3 months have passed since I was first cursed. but I have yet to complete my first good deed. These are my thoughts as I head back to sleeping quarters after dinner that night. Mela excuses me long ago, insisting that I go to my own room before she went to hers. I am walking down the hallway when I notice Rod heading down a familiar path. I follow after him. Are you going to the marching? Rod jumps and turns around. The surprise in his face quickly fades into annoyance. Don't do that again. And no, not today. Since I came here, I found out Rod occasionally sneaks out of the palace at night through a secret passageway to go to the marching. Even now I'm still confused as to why he goes there. He had said before that he had given up on breaking his curse, which makes me wonder why he still visits. It also makes me wonder why he would refuse to break his curse in the first place. Is he okay with being the way he is, or is his curse just really difficult to break? Why were you cursed, Rod? I'm not answering that question. Why? I cannot help you break your curse if you refuse to tell me anything. I told you before that I do not need your help, but I chose you as my partner. You help me, and I help you. It is highly likely that breaking Rod's curse will also count for a good deed. Rod scowls at me and crosses his arm. I'm afraid that this isn't how this works at all. The sound of footsteps keeps me from coming back with a retort. We both turn to see Sir Alcaster approaching us. Prince Rod, good evening. Good evening, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster turns to me and raises an eyebrow. Shouldn't you be attending to Princess Mela? Rod silences me with a look. He moves to stand in front of me, shielding me from Sir Alcaster's gaze. We were just about to go to her. Let's go, Ellie. Rod drives away, and I quickly curtsy Sir Alcaster for following after Rod. I can still feel Sir Alcaster's eyes on my back as I walk away. I try my best to suppress a shudder. Rod and I walk through this hallway in silence. We both stop in our tracks when we hear the clattering of silverware. I look around and realize that the sound has come from behind a set of doors that is slightly open. The dining hall? Oh no! That's Mela's voice. We do not see Mela when we enter the room, but there is a dizzying array of cutlery set on the table. Mela? Mela surprises us both by crawling out from beneath the table. What the heck is she doing under there? She flashes an embarrassed smile as she gets to her feet, holding several forks and knives in her hands. What are you doing here? You should be getting ready for bed. Sorry. I eyed the silverware on the table. I thought I could practice before I sleep today. It has already been an incredibly long day for her, and she is still doing this. I watch as Mela puts the cutlery back onto the table in the wrong places. You need to rest, Em. I will after I practice the placement one last time. She smiles at him before returning to the table. I don't know why a person would need so much cutlery. One fork, one spoon, and one knife should be more than enough for any meal. I freaking absolutely agree with this. Like, why do you need soup spoons, or salad bowls? It's so weird. I don't understand this. I don't understand why people do that. It's a weird thing to do. And all these glasses, if I recall correctly, this one is for water, this one is for red wine, and this one is for white wine. See, what I said includes glasses too. It's weird. It's just weird. Okay, so we're gonna give her the correct answers. We're not gonna chide her. That flute is for champagne, the other is for sherry. Oh, right. But there are two more. The other is for juice, and the other glass is for dessert wine. The dessert wine glass will only be used during the dessert course, and the juice glass is only used when juice is being served as a course. Otherwise, it is placed next to the water goblet. I see. I see Rod is staring at me out of the corner of his eyes. His lips twitch before he turns back to his sister. He looked like he was about to smile. Yeah, there we go, crystal time. Then what are these for? Mela points out to the group of forks in front of her. You use those every day, Your Highness. You should know the answer. Mela points at them as she rattles off names. Dinner fork, fish fork, salad, correct. You know so much about etiquette too. You're really incredible, Ellie. You make a better noble woman than I do. Even if I told her I wasn't noble, it's not as if she would believe me. I just read a lot about all this stuff. You read and know enough to put them into practice? That's amazing. Especially since you haven't even been with us so long, right, Rod? Rod shrugs. He does not, much to my surprise, disagree. Perhaps you should be my teacher, Ellie. I can learn so quickly from you. Mela quickly straightened out the cutlery. Now that I think about it, I've come to realize that Mela is much more than she appeared to be. It is probably because I am forced to spend so much time with her as her maid. She's different, she's flawed, and not as conceited and more humble than I had originally thought. Maybe I should try lending her a hand. I may not be one of your tutors, but if you need help with your lessons, just ask me and I'll do what I can for you. That's weird. Oh wait, no, right, she's trying to be good. That's right. Ellie? I glance at Rod, who's once again wearing that expression of surprise. I shift my attention to Mela once again. You only have 1 month left to prepare, and as your personal maid, I feel it my responsibility to help you in whatever ways I can. Ellie. Mela wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, and that's when I know something glistening on her cheek. Is she crying? You are extremely kind, Ellie. Thank you. I will definitely take you up on that offer. I'm still looking at Ella when I catch a faint glow coming from the pendant on my chest. Oh, look at that. That was a good deed. Wow. What just happened? Oh, what a pretty necklace you have, Ellie. Thank you. Anyway, for now I think the both of us would benefit from some sleep. After escorting Mela back to her room, I walk out into the hallway in a daze. What was that light? It seems like you actually managed to obtain your first good deed. I did not know he was still here. I look down at my pendant, astonished at what I see. And the first piece appears. A piece of the glass slipper? I gingerly touch the new piece that's hanging next to my existing glass slipper pendant. It is real. You're not too bad after all. Did he just compliment me? Hey, he's smiling. Oh, that's so weird. What? Rod turns away. Nothing. He walks away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Alright, Chapter 5, Secrets. And judging by the title of this chapter, I wonder if we learned the secrets of Rod. But that's for the next episode. Good morning, Your Highness. Would you like to play with us? Oh wait, no, I'm done here. I tried starting the episode right here. My bad. Alright everyone, if you enjoyed what you've seen here and you would like to see more Cinderella Phenomenon, then go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified when the next episode comes out. And of course, if you have your own suggestions for visual novels, then go ahead and leave the title as well as where to get it in the comments below, or go ahead and post it in the discussion tab and I'll check it out there. Otherwise, I'll see you all in the next episode of Cinderella Phenomenon, Chapter 5, Secrets.